right, welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started now. Danny, is there anything that you want to say to the agents before we get started with our presentation?
Well, I've been promoting, and John and I have both been promoting RPR for a long time, but now that we're switching over to one of the branded parts of what RPR can be, I hope to bring more of this information to you guys. We have, I think, Katie, 15 different sessions that we're going to be bringing to our agents via Zoom, just like this. And we're going to, have some one or two more, I think, in December. Tom and I were working on those dates. Then we're going to start having at least one a month moving forward in training on RPR to better assist all of you guys.
That is fantastic. And we are really jumping in with our content today. We're not fooling around with the brokerage. So we're jumping into RPR's masterclass of transforming your listing presentations with RPR. What you're going to see today and the format of the webinar is how we normally run all of our webinars. I'm going to start with a brief PowerPoint, and then I'm going to jump into a live demo under a training account that's set up the way it should appear for your brokerage. And if I ask for feedback through the chat, go ahead and give that to me. We normally, I'm able to really be able to make sure we're meeting your needs within the platform. So we're going to get started with a little bit of background on what is RPR if you don't know it. It's an acronym for Realtors Property Resource, and we are part of the National Association of Realtors. And really, we pull together public record data, which is really what I call any non-MLS information. And public record data is property appraiser information, tax collector information, mortgage information, title information, points and places of interest, traffic counts, school data, U.S. Census information and demographic data. We have ESRI data. And for any property in the U.S. that has a tax ID and is residential or commercial, we divvy it up into two categories in RPR. We have that layer of public record information. And then if your MLS participates with RPR, you will have that layer of MLS active, sold, and off-market data, historical photos, historical listing information, statistical information for those MLSs that you participate with. And then we also have, there are, roughly speaking, I think about 400 and maybe 75 or 80 MLSs across the country. About 50% of them share their active listing data with you through RPR. It's not every area across the country. And I believe are you guys by Houston? Am I thinking of the right brokerage?
Yeah, every MLS that we're a part of subscribes to RPR.
Okay, so let's say, for example purposes, you participate with the Houston MLS. You will see the Houston MLS information when you're in RPR. But if you have a friend that lives in, let's say, Arizona, and you go search Phoenix, Arizona, you will see the public record data, but you will not see the MLS data because Arizona Regional MLS doesn't share their actives with all realtors. Now, in another scenario, let's say you're in Houston and you have clients that are selling and they're moving to the other side of the Gulf of Mexico over by me to the Tampa Bay area of Florida. You can go into RPR and search the Tampa Bay area, and you will see active listings because the MLS that covers this market area, which is Stellar MLS, they share actives with realtors across the US. So there are pockets across the country where you will see active listing data. And then I just want to comment that your brokerage, JLA Realty, has also partnered with RPR to set up your brokerage brand in the system. And that's a really powerful tool because then when you use RPR and you're creating a report or material that you can hand to a client or customer, it's going to have that JLA brand Realty on it. You can also add your own contact information onto it as well. Now, when we're coming in and we're talking about creating a listing presentation in RPR, it's more than a comparative market analysis, right? Although that is a portion of the end product. The listing presentation is almost like the resume, right? That you hand over to a property owner to say, hey, I've researched not only your listing or your home, but I've researched the market. I've looked at the current inventory. I've looked at the location of the property to see if it has additional marketability. And I'm an agent with JLA Realty, and I've been in the industry for 12 years, and my specialty is working with this type of property. It's your guide to that homeowner on why they should list with you as an agent and why you feel you are the expert in pricing their property for sale where it should be in the market. And that document that you hand them, whether you print it out and put it in a nice binder with a spine and a cover page and a cover letter, and they can flip through it, whether you email it to them as an attachment. Some people like their tablet and they can put it into a presentation and swipe through the tablet. We call that a listing presentation, right? And that's really what we're going to cover today. So all of those components that go into the presentation. Now, what I'm going to share with you today, I'm going to do through the RPR, what I call the desktop. I'm sitting in front of my MacBook and it's my laptop. I have it pulled up. I open up Chrome. I go to www.narrpr.com and I log into the platform. But we do have a mobile app that's available, and you can install the mobile app by taking a picture of this QR code. It's going to bring you right up to the Google Play or the App Store. It's going to allow you to install the mobile app. And then through the mobile app, not only do you have the ability to search for properties, you get that layer of public record data and MLS data. You get school information. We have an equity calculator and a mortgage calculator in there, but you can also create a comparative analysis or a CMA right on the palm of your hand through your mobile device. So it's a really powerful tool to be able to do that. But we are going to just jump into RPR and take a look. I will have a slide at the end on where you can go to access RPR. A lot of MLSs have a link to RPR right from their dashboard. Some MLSs are even integrated with RPR, so you can click an icon and it takes you right from the MLS to our platform. JLA Realty may have a link to our RPR page through your inner brokerage site, or you can just go to our regular website. But I'm going to go ahead and just transition my screen over, and I am logged into RPR from our, or from what I should say is your homepage. And I'm just going to turn my video off at this point in time. And here I am logged into the homepage of RPR. So for the most part, this is what your homepage should look like. Now, at the top, from left to right, you're going to see that JLA Realty logo. This is the main large brand image that's going to appear on the content that you create for your clients, whether it's a listing presentation, whether it's a buyer report or a property detail report, or maybe you're creating an open house flyer. This is the main brand that's going to go onto that page. Then following the top of the screen from left to right, you are going to see this little circular coin. And when you click on that circular coin, you have a profile that you can click into. And this profile is going to look something like this. Okay, it's just kind of a blank screen, and you're going to come in and upload your agent photo. So wherever on your desktop you have your agent photo, you can click on that photo, open it, and import it into RPR. And that will appear on the reports that you create. You also have a small logo here. This small logo is a second image that you can upload. So if you have a team model that you work within and you want to upload your team logo, if you have an agent brand that you want to upload, if you have maybe you do commercial and residential and you want to upload a commercial logo, you can do that. But this is a secondary logo that you can open and import into RPR. And that will appear on the cover page of your reports. And I'm just going to come in and override some of this information. You do have a tagline, right? So I'm just going to type in a little tagline. You can add a title in there. We have your office information. You can add your phone number. A lot of this information may already be there. It feeds in from your MLS system, but I'm going to label these the way I want them to appear on the report. Okay. I'm going to go, I can't talk and type at the same time all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and add that information into RPR. Okay. And then we have our MLS information. This is something that should, again, already be populated into the platform. But if you have if you're an agent, and forgive me because I'm not all that familiar with your market area, if you participate with more than one MLS, your primary MLS will be here. You can add as many MLSs as you pay MLS fees to. And that just ensures that when you are searching RPR, those markets are essentially unlocked for you to view. We have your license number that you can add, and then we have assistant users. If your MLS permits unlicensed assistants to use the MLS on your behalf, those assistants can use RPR on your behalf as well. You associate them to your account, you enter their email, their phone number, their agent ID, and then that way that administrative assistant can go into RPR and create reports on your behalf. Once you get this information locked in, you're just going to agree to the terms of use. I suggest you agree to receive RPR updates and news. Just hit the save button, and that is going to lock in your profile information. And I'm going to just go back to the home page from here. And then we're going to go ahead and pull up our subject property for our listing presentation. Now you can type in a property address into this bar and it's going to pull up the property. You also can enter a zip code or city, and under the more filters, you can search by owner name as well. Okay, so even if you don't have the property address, you can search by owner name. And then I just want to show you guys on the home page at the top, this is your main RPR navigation bar. So we have home, we have research tools. We'll get into all of these as we move forward with training, the different types of searches that you can run if you want to prospect RPR for residential or commercial clients. If you need help, technical support, or training, we have some learning resources that we're probably going to touch base on today. And then we have my work. And as you start to use RPR and you're saving properties as favorites, or you're looking at properties, or you're creating reports, or you're saving searches, all of that goes into this kind of file cabinet of information. So I'm going to say I looked at the property that I'm working with already. So I'm going to go to my saved properties, and it's right here under this saved properties quick touch box. So I can click right into the property detail from there. So there's lots of different ways that you can pull up a property. Typing in an address, you can type in a city or zip code and search by owner name. You can just pull it in by the map as well. Or if you looked at it through a mobile device, or earlier on a previous day, you can pull it up from your recent properties as well. Now we're coming in and we are looking at this property. I've been in contact with the property owners, and I am going to create a listing presentation for this couple. Now, sometimes when I'm training, I find it easier to work backwards. So before I came on with you guys, I pre-created a listing presentation, real generic. And I'm going to pull up that listing presentation and show all of you what the end result is. So this is a copy of what we suggest you use for a listing presentation. You can customize it in different ways, but I just want to give you what it looks like in a generic format so we can compare it to what a custom presentation looks like at the end. So this is what the cover page looks like. It has that JLA Realty logo on it. It gives the name of the report. We call it a seller's report. It gives the property address. We have the Google Street View for the image. None of my contact information appears on this report because when I created it, I didn't have any of that info uploaded. We just went through the process of uploading profile information. So when we create our report at the end, it will be on this page. We have the market value. I pre-ran a generic CMA, so I have a comp analysis. We get the home facts for the property. We get the extended home facts. I get some property history that's included here, median estimated value growth, assessed value information. I get my mortgage information, deed records, sales and financing activity. I'm going to get a little bit of list price versus sales price. I'm going to get some market comparable statistics, median listing price versus listing volume, comparables within a common range of our subject property. We're going to get our comps map. We're going to get our comp side by side. We're going to have our comparable property full detail view for each comp that we've included. And then we're going to have a little worksheet of market inventory. Now you can line item this detail as well. I don't, I just like to get the little snapshot of it, but these reports are customizable. And then we have a recommended pricing strategy. So that's kind of a trimmed down version of our listing presentation. Now I'm going to go back to RPR and I'm going to go back to our property on David Glen. And I'm going to share with you some ways that you can go through and customize this report even further. So one of the first things I like to do when I'm coming in and customizing the report is name my report. So looking at the one that we already have created, it's just the seller's report with the property address. So when you save a listing as a favorite, the default for the saved listing is the property address. You can customize this name. So I can come in and say, this is a listing presentation. And I'm just going to say, since they're, okay. So I have listing presentation for the Tomeos, and it's right there. That now will become the title of my future report. So a small little thing that you can do to set your report off from others. And then I actually had a comment from Alicia. She says, this is an 81-page report, the seller's report, and I'll show you where that is. She's commenting that this is an 81-page report. It is, it's a beast. Can I delete some of the pages from that specific report? And I will show you how to do that, because even with my sample report, Alicia, I trim mine down to 21. And I'm going to show you what elements I recommend you remove from the report. And then at that time, a little later on, you can share any additional information that you want with me. So we're going to go back to our customization. The next thing I like to look at when you're going through and creating a listing presentation, right? From the agent standpoint, we want to be able to create a really comprehensive comparative market analysis to price it, right? We want to be able to highlight some features of the property, but we really don't want to spend 8 hours running a listing presentation. However, we want the seller or the property owner to think that we spent a lot of time creating this listing presentation and doing the research. And that's where this can come into play. So we have in RPR all of the layers of property information that you need to get a full idea of ownership, equity, inventory, competition, right? Demographic data, pricing, and customization, all within this property bar. So we have property information, which is the street view, the beds, the baths, the square footage, the value. We're going to get to the value in just a minute. We get all of the public record property facts. If there's any discrepancies, you can override those discrepancies with changes. It doesn't back correct public record, but it just tells the owner that, yes, at one point in time, this property probably did have a garage. However, you can clearly see that they enclosed it. So where public record says garage, yes, maybe it hasn't updated. I'm going to come in and say no. So you can go through and update property facts. You can also add additional property facts if you feel it's relevant. And these can be things like gated community, golf cart community. If it's waterfront, riverfront, lakefront, equestrian, you can add all of that information to the property facts to put an emphasis on the value of that property characteristic. You have interior features from public record. You have exterior features from public record. You have the legal description. You have schools based off of location. This, in certain markets, properties that are in a attendance school zone that's in demand can add marketability to a property. Not all markets will share school information, but if you're in a market that does, here's the school information, which could be a benefit to your home seller if they're in a market where that could be a potential driver. You have owner facts of the property. How long have they owned it? Is it owner occupied? Then you will see public record history. And under public record history, you can validate deed information, right? When was the sale recorded through public record? How many times were recorded sales through public record? Was there any sort of transfer of property ownership where it went into a trust, right? Or were there liens on the property? You have mortgage, which helps you determine equity, right? If they paid for this property when they purchased it in cash, and all they did was pull out a small loan for $16,000 back in 2021, they have a ton of equity. You have tax information on the property as well. And then you have sales and financing activity and estimated value growth over time. You can pick and choose what components you want to have included in your presentation. Scrolling back up, I just want to highlight, we have a map here that you can take a look at. You can click on it and it's going to go ahead and open. But if I scroll back up to that main blue property bar, you'll also see I have a map location here as well. Now, as we move through the different elements that we like to take a look at, we're going to look at all of these different components: map, market trends, refined values, CMA. Where I like to start is to the far right-hand side, and that is my updates. So I'm going straight to my updates. Now, when I spoke with the property owners initially, I drove by the home, and with my phone, I took a quick picture of the property and I airdropped it to my computer. So now for my report, I want to override this Google image because I don't really feel it's a good picture of the property. It doesn't give you a nice view of the home. I took a nicer one. Maybe the tree was trimmed since the Google Street View was taken. So I want to customize this image. I'm going to go to my updates. We have a small menu bar here where we can add notes. These can be records of conversations with the owners. These can be every time you add a note, it puts a stamp of the date that you added it. These can be appointment times, right? Anything that you kind of want to keep private to yourself. You can keep a running track of the notes. We have photos. So I can come in and say, I took a really nice photo of the subject property and I want to import that photo. Right? This is just a demo photo, obviously. I want to take this photo, I'm going to select it, and I want to make it the cover page of my report. Now, when I'm looking at my property info, I will still see this image. But when I create my listing presentation report, this is the image that will appear front and center on this report. So that is that branded image that will appear on the property info. Now, I shared with you all the property information, deed information, mortgage information, assessed value over time. Some of the quick things that I like to take a look at for my listing presentation, I start with the map. And this is our street view. So I'm going to click into the street view. So I click on that image one time with my mouse and that engages it. And now I can take this and I can pan and zoom my map around the neighborhood, right? And that allows me to see the curb appeal of the property and the neighborhood. I can see how the exterior looks. One thing that I would want to do, I would look at neighboring homes and see if other properties maybe enclosed their garage, or is this something unique that my property owner did? So you do have the ability to kind of check out what's going on in and around the neighborhood, and you can see the condition of the neighborhood. So I like to use the map to pan and zoom quite a bit. Okay. And I have a great question out there from Jerry, who's asking if the location of the property is not showing correctly on the map, how can that be fixed? You're just going to grab the address, and under the help on our RPR navigation bar, you can give us a call. You can give us an email, or you can jump into the live chat. And that's going to put you online with our member support. And you can just tell them that the geolocation for a property is not correct in RPR. And they'll pull a ticket, validate the property location, and update it on our end. So we have an override that we can do for that. We also have a satellite view. And the satellite view is good if you're trying to validate if a property has a pool or a deck or a screened in enclosure in the back, a fixed storage unit, or anything like that. So you do have that satellite image. And then I want to comment for properties like this property sold back in 2017. If there was an MLS listing from 2017, you would have photos for that MLS listing as well. So sometimes you will see historical MLS photos. So I like to look at that and see what I can get visually out of the property. And then the next thing that I do is jump over to the map location. And when I'm looking at the map location, right off the bat, here's my property. I'm going to see all of the properties around my subject property. These properties that are gray are unlisted. We're looking at public record data, and we're looking at what the estimated value is for that property.
Hey,
If
Katie,
it's
real quick, is that the estimated RPR, RVM
yes,
price, or is that the tax value?
that is the R value as far as the RPR's estimate. The tax value would be under that public record info where the tax tab is. Okay. And then you're going to see these blue squares. These are recent sales, and the sold price is what you see below the property. And you can click on those, and I can come in and see, okay, this is a 3-2, 1,600 square feet. And I can see the address on the property, right? And I can see the city, so on and so forth. If you want to view the full details, you can view the full details from here. These yellow ones, these are leased, right? So I'm not really concerned about the yellow, but if you keep your eye on that. And then these blue circles are actively listed properties and what the list price is on the property. And then these ones that we see here with the ring around it, those are pending. If I saw any red, that would be a distressed property. So right off the bat, visually, I can see what's going on with the inventory. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3 active listings just within like a 2-block radius. I'm looking at 1 pended property, and there's about 1, 2, 3, 4 solds, right? So I wouldn't really say I'm looking at something that's really heavy in depth in a seller's market. Some other things that I like to take a look at when I'm in this map view. Now we're looking at this property, which is settled kind of in the middle. It's residential, no worries. If I was looking at one of these properties, right, I would be concerned about this road and the noise traffic of that road because that could be detrimental to my seller. Buyers may be like, I don't want a property that's going to back up to Friendswood Link Road. So in RPR, we have map tools over here to the right-hand side. And under here, we have driving. And then under driving, we have traffic counts. And I can apply these traffic counts. And if I zoom out a little bit, you won't get it for these little neighborhood roads. But if you have that seller that's on this outlier, right? I could come in here and say, all right, well, this road has 7,000 or 6,700 average daily drivers per day for that roadway. Okay. So that could be detrimental when we look at maybe another road over here that only has 4,000. So sometimes that comes in handy when you're looking at marketability or overall value. 80% of buyers, quality of the market area was one of the most determining factors in the purchase of the property. And that one of those quality layers was noise. So that's something to keep in the back of your mind. Another thing we have here, which really wouldn't apply so much to this property, but if I go to my data layers, we do have a flood zone, and I'm going to come in and apply that flood zone and zoom out a little bit. I wouldn't have seen this because I didn't know there was this river, but you obviously have a runoff here. and we are a block away from that runoff. You will see also location details here at the bottom, and I'm from Florida, so I would put flood insurance is not required, but strongly recommended. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. It's going to save it. I'm going to include that note in my report. And then what I normally like to do, we have a print button here at the top. I print this out. I don't physically print it out. I save it as a PDF on my desktop, and then I upload it into my report. So I'm going to go ahead, add it to my desktop items, and save it. So any questions on any of the map tools that we saw here? And again, it's just working our way across this bar, right? The next one that we have is market trends. So when I quickly click into market trends, I have a question from Tracy. Does the flood page not print out in the seller's report? I don't believe it's included, which is why I always manually include it if it applies. When we look at the market trends, because this property is in Friendswood, Texas, and it's zip code 77546, it's going to pull the market trends for the same zip code, and it's going to pull market trends for single family homes. And it's going to give us just that snapshot of the market type. If we are in a buyer or seller's market, there's a couple of items that I like to take a look at here. I'm going to look at the list to sold price percentage. This is indicating, because we have less than 5.5 months of inventory in this zip code, that we're still in a seller's market. 5 months to 6 months of inventory is balanced, and then over 6 months is a buyer's market. But even though this says we're in a seller's market, to me, it's not as strong as we've seen in the last couple of years. We're at a 97% list to sold price, 40 days on market. So buyers are definitely not in a rush to purchase properties. This property that we're looking at, the value is below the median estimated sold price. So that can be a good thing. But you can come in and look at what's going on with the active inventory. Is inventory continuing to climb? We have sold data, and then again, we have those market trends, and we have property value growth, and what's going on with comparables around our subject property. So I do like to come into the market trends, and I just get that little snapshot of what's going on in the market. And then what I like to do with this, ready? We have a create script button here at the top. So I'm going to come into the create script, and I'm going to choose my tone, which is professional. And I'm going to choose my audience, which is general buyer, general seller, first-time home buyer, move-up buyer, investor, luxury home seller, downsizing seller, or distressed seller. So I'm going to come in and just say this is the general seller, and then I'm going to analyze my metrics. And this is going to draft the cover letter that I am going to use for my listing presentation. Now, it doesn't really, if you use Microsoft Word, you can send it right into Microsoft Word. You can also export it to Google Docs. If you want to export it right to Google Docs, I'm going to copy the text, which copies it to a clipboard. And then I'm going to open up a tab. I use Google Drive faithfully. So I'm going to come into my Google Drive and I'm going to start a new document. And I'm going to go into the Google templates. And let's say I have a business letter template with my company name that I'm going to come in and say this is our company, which is JLA Realty. I'm going to add my address. I'm going to add the date. I'm going to add the owner information. And then I'm going to come in and paste that seller's cover letter. I am going to decrease the font a little bit. I'm going to get rid of this spacing. And then I'm going to read it over. And if I need to change any of the text, I can change any of the text. But then I do have the ability to print it out or add it as a custom page. And I get a really nice seller cover letter. So that's what I do with my market trends script writer. Any questions on that? Really great way to kick that presentation up a notch. All right, now we're going to get into the pricing tools that we have in RPR, and I wish we could go in depth into those pricing tools. So I'm going to put a bug in Danny's ear and say, hey, maybe for the next webinar, we talk about the CMA and the RVM tools in RPR, because these are really valuable tools as part of your pricing discussions. And I want to just touch base on them very quickly in this class. So RPR has an RVM. And that RVM is just our trademarked AVM calculation, right? And your AVM is what's my home worth. If you go to realtor.com or Zillow and you throw in a property address, it gives you a number, right? This is our version of that. We look at any public record recorded sale where the sales price was disclosed, or any MLS recorded sale up through November 17th of 2024, right? And we are November 19th. So this is including sales up to 2 days ago in this RVM calculation. We give you a range because we assume all properties are in equal condition. But you guys as agents know that's not true. You can have conditions, property conditions that apply, curb appeal that apply, inventory, all these things combat against that price. Then we have a confidence score and we tell you the month over month and the year over year. We do have a view details where you can really come in and get a sampling of properties that were used to determine the value, to see if it has strength in those numbers. Now, once you see this RVM value, if you're saying, well, I don't really feel like that is a true representation of this particular property, you can come into RPR and you can refine that value, right? Maybe they did a home improvement and added a roof or a window, or they enclosed the garage and you want to add that. You can do that. You get the date and the cost from the homeowner. If there's a needed improvement, you can add that as well. Maybe it needs a roof, right? And you want to take the value away. But maybe there's market conditions that are combating against the property. And I like to do a give and take with this. So I may come in and say, all right, market trend says we're in a buyer's or in a seller's market. So that adds value. However, Inventory has increased month over month. Our list to sales price is 97%, and that's a negative. We're at 34 days on market or almost 40 days on market, and that's a negative. Oh, but this property is below the median property value, which adds demand. So I kind of do that like, okay, these are all the positives and these are all the negatives, and I see where I end out. How's the exterior curb appeal relative to other properties in the neighborhood? What's the interior like? What's the lot size? What's the view? What's the privacy? Is it on a cul-de-sac? Is it a key lot? You know, you can kind of use these to come in and fine tune what that RVM value is.
Hey, Katie. So
Yes.
one of the scripts I use on this, I use it with clients every day. And the script that I use when I'm doing a Zoom or something with my clients or in front of them on this very fine page, the refined value page,
Yes.
I ask the question, same, better, or worse. And we go through, we look at your house and we answer those questions, same, better, or worse. Then it allows me to come up with a better pricing figure for them.
Right, because this is in my view, the first line of defense, right? Because you're going to get with that homeowner and they're going to say, I looked up what my home is worth. And you're like, oh, okay, let's do this. And you're already prepared because you take it a step further and you have them judge the property, which I think is fantastic. And then you fine tune this. So that's awesome. This is one of my favorite tools. And then your second line of defense, I'm going back up to this blue bar. It's that CMA, right? You're going to come in and instead of letting the AVM or mathematical algorithm determine the value, you're saying, hey, I'm going to come in and I'm going to confirm those home facts. The beds, the baths, the square footage, the garage, the basement, although we don't have basements in Florida, so I really couldn't share any of that with you. The acreage, any of that stuff. You're going to go into RPR and you are going to pull those comparable sales within a particular date range. And you're going to hand pick the comps that you want to use in your comparative market analysis. And based off of those comparable properties, you're going to navigate through those comparable properties and you're going to make adjustments if that comp is better or worse or equal to. That's going to adjust your subject property. You can add notes. And then once you're done with those notes, you can see what that recommended price is. And then down here to the bottom, it's saying, hey, we've done everything we have to do. Let's go ahead and generate that seller's report, which is that listing presentation type report. Now, before we get here, we have a sample of what the cover page is going to look like. Then you have your elements that you can include in the report, right? So I want to have my photo. I want to have my cell phone. I want to have the broker logo. I want to have my title, my cell phone, my email. All of that I want to have included on the cover page when it builds my profile. Then we have here to the bottom, custom pages. These can be anything you want. I have a agent bio that I'm going to pull in that I can customize. I have somewhere in here a pre-listing checklist, right? But I'll show you that. Oh, here it is. Is this it? Yep, this is my pre-listing checklist. So I'm going to pull that in and I want this to be at the end. Oh, and then I'm going to go to add another page because under my desktop was that flood map. So I want that flood map to be in here. And I'm going to kind of shift these the way I want. and I'm going to save them. Now, JLA is working on getting custom pages uploaded that all of you will have access to, that you can use to assist in your marketing to the property owner. So not only can your brokerage have up to 5 multiple page custom page reports that you can incorporate into your report, you can then have up to 5 that you can remove and add as you go through. Okay. Now, you may have tools through your JLA dashboard for custom pages, but I just want to show you that RPR, we have created some custom pages that you can use as well. And we use Canva. So give me a shout out through the chat if you're familiar with Canva. And I'm just going to go to learn. And then under the learn, we have view more ways to learn. So I'm going to click that and leave. It's going to open up in a secure browser. And then I'm going to go to learning, and you see right here, Canva templates, take it further. So we have Canva templates for social posts, for postcards, for presentations, but we do have custom pages. And this is where, if you work with a lot of buyers and you want to have we have in here a home buyer checklist. We have a couple of pre-listing checklists. We have a marketing plan. We have pre-formatted client testimonials where you can go in and plug information in. We have a ton of pre-formatted agent bios that you can borrow and you can open in Canva and customize. So again, I just went to, and if you're at the homepage in RPR, you can go there as well. But from here, if I go to learn and just go to view more ways to learn, that brings you to our blog. And then you just go to the learning menu and we have Canva templates. And this is something really simple, and I'll show you. We have this pre-listing checklist. And I'm going to use it for a new design. It opens up Canva and I can come in and I have uploads. So I'm going to upload a file and I'm going to go to my computer and I'm going to find my brokerage logo and open it and import it in. And then once I have my brokerage logo uploaded, I'm going to drag it and drop it right into this box. And then I can zoom in or zoom out on that and make it a better fit. Then I have my agent photo that I'm going to drag and drop. And then I'm just going to continue to, let me drag and drop it this way. I'm just going to bring it right into that little circle. And then I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to add my name here. Stretch it out a little bit so it fits. And then once I'm done, I just download it onto my desktop and I have a custom pre-listing checklist that I can then upload into RPR. So there's lots of cool little reports that you can go in and customize. And then we have our seller's report. So now when I go to customize it, I have my custom pages. And I'm just going through these report elements, picking and choosing what I want to include in my report. These little circles you can hover over, it's going to tell you what it is. The first thing that I kind of go to, I take out the AARP livability index. I take out historical photos. And then when we get to market inventory, I take out any active listings, pending listings, sold listings, distressed or expireds that are within a 5-mile radius of my property. They get the summary, but market inventory is not the same as comparable properties. comparable properties are handpicked in my CMA that are similar to my subject property. Market activity is inventory within a radius of my subject property. I don't really care about inventory around my subject property. So I take that info out. And then when I'm done, I can run that report, and I'm going to then have a report that I can generate. So, and I have a question right there really quick. Lost track of how you connect to Canva. So we have Canva templates on our blog. And if I go to the RPR blog, it's under learning and Canva templates. Canva is not affiliated to RPR in any way. It is a free marketing tool that you guys can sign up for. It's for real estate. It's for party invitations. It's for whatever. I mean, I do an elf shop for my kids' school, and I just used it for all the flyers for the event. So you can use it for whatever you want. You pick the template, and then you leave RPR and you go into Canva to design it. You're on your own up at this stage. And then when you're done customizing it, there is a share in Canva where you can download it into a PDF for free. And then once it's a PDF on your computer, you upload it into RPR like any other custom page report. You go to manage custom pages and you bring it in. And then I'll really quick, because we're at the top of the hour, I'm going to pull open our now customized report. So again, we get the
I know we're
JLA
running out of
Realty.
time. We have a couple of questions that are in the Q&A. Somebody said they didn't see how you got to Canva. That was like a bunch of, can you go back real quick and show how you got to Canva?
Yep, learn. And then there's view more ways. That's going to take you to our blog. And then it's right under the learning Canva templates.
Thank you. And also, can you create a retrospective report? I don't know what that, Sierra, what are you asking that?
Like you can't create a CMA for what a property would have been worth in, August.
Can you, I think you can you, I want to get your answer. Can I look at market trends from previous years? Is a question.
Okay, so, and we'll go back to looking at the report, but if I'm looking at a particular property or I'm pulling market trends and we're looking at the October stats, I cannot change this particular graphic to show what August was. But in my inventory, so if I'm coming in and this is for October, and I want to see what it was in August, I just take my mouse and I follow these trends back to August. And I will see in that little window what the trend was of the particular metric that I'm looking at. So the history is there. You just can't pull that historical information to display like you see the current month. I hope that answers the question. And then you can see how now we have that custom listing presentation report with those custom pages, with those refined values, right? With the market conditions, with the CMA. So I really didn't do a whole bunch to change this except plug in the pages that I wanted here and there for content. Okay. And then what we have, so maybe coming in 2025, when you guys are a little more familiar with the data that we have in RPR, we have a new reports program where you can really go in and customize these reports. Okay. I think that's it. Is there anything, Danny, that you know? I know we're a few minutes over.
There are a couple of questions in the Q&A. Okay,
I think we answered that one live. Website for Canva, just Google it, Canva. I think it's just canva.com,
it is.
actually.
It is.
Yeah.
So, yep, I think
And
that's all.
then Sierra got her question. Awesome.
So I'm also going to put on here a link to my uh, um, calendar. If any of y'all, I've been using RPR forever. I mean, I was one of the very first people doing the beta test on this back in 2013 when it came out. So I've been using it for a long, long time. I'm a big fan. I can help most of the stuff that y'all need. If you want some one-on-one coaching on this, just go to my calendar, set a little 30-minute meeting, and we'll do a Zoom call to help make this better for you.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording and we'll wrap things up. And Danny, I'll be looking forward, and all of you, I'll be looking forward to see what we have lined up for you guys with future RPR training.
I just know
All
with
right.
Christmas coming up, Thanksgiving coming up, it's tough to get trainings, trying to get those in before the end of the year. But I'll get one set up in the next few weeks before Christmas for the CMA class. I think we're going to do that one next.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you in maybe in a month or less. All right. Bye, everyone.